Hey, girl.
I miss you so much.
Oh, missed you too.
Oh my God, your art is
Which one? Oh, the last one.
the ones you put on Instagram. I was like,
To do suddenly it came to me like I want to do. I did a pink one before, but I sold it, and I was like, I need to do something pink again. And then I got stuck with inspiration when I just had the sort of the planet or the sun, whatever you want to make of it, with the flowers, and I was like, something needs to go beneath, but what? And as I have a sort of a style, my style. I was like, okay, get out of my comfort zone. And then I thought of like a tiger. And I thought, oh, that fits the blossom as well. And then I just tried.
I was like, oh my God, I was looking at him and I could feel how happy your body was to be painting. It
Yes.
was like I could feel the joy of the body of moving through your painting, and I was so excited. I was like, this is mind blowing. It was exactly what she needed to do, and
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. Next to the 16 garbage bags that I, threw away. And then, yeah, I felt like, oh, you didn't know that yet? Oh, I didn't know where we stopped. So,
No, oh my
so,
gosh, I'm
I
so
was stuck.
excited.
And you saw me in my plasma body, and I still was there, you said. So I was like, okay, what do I need to do? And then I felt like I need to let go of the old. It's old and it's no longer necessary. And I am somebody new. And why hold on to the images of the present, of the past. So I threw away like hundreds of shoes and clothes I would never wear, sizes I would never wear again, because I would never become that small again. you know and and then I got space to, like, oh yeah, then the pink thing came. And I remember that I still had like a real quality canvas upstairs, and I hoped it would be bigger, but it was this big square. And I just started painting, and everything started flowing again. And I was fully in it. My focus and concentration of my 952 was so happy to no longer be stuck. And then when I finished it, I felt like I want to do another one. So I bought this weekend, I bought it's 70 centimeters by a meter. And then Hans asked me, he challenged me, he wanted to have his design in a painting. So I'm working on that right now, and it's really out of my comfort zone again, because it's a circle with a body graph. How do you present the body graph? The acryl is not that precise, so it can never be like perfect. So I have to learn that painting doesn't have to be perfect. And now I drew with it. I will show you later. I sent you a picture when we're done. And I got stuck several times, like, what can I add more, or what needs to go in it? And then, little things start to come. So a little man appeared, was like sitting and pointing at the circle. And I never do mans, and especially not that small. But it looks good. And then I thought, okay, it's a men's painting. And then I felt like I asked Hans, can there be flowers in there? He said, of course, there your flowers. You do everything with flowers. I was so happy. Yes, flowers in there. So now I'm making pink flowers in it. And I think there need to be more symbols in it, because I've never done those before. And just, if it's not perfect, it's so also okay, because it comes out of me, and it's about me having an outlet for expression, and having something to do that excites me, working with the colors again. And yeah, not walking around the house and searching for maybe new information, because to me at this point, for now, nothing is new. While I was painting, I was listening to the nature of stars, and the mystical way. And the nature of stars, it blew me away. It did something inside of me. It was like, okay, I'm not going to spoil anything. No spoiler alert, because I think you didn't listen to it yet or read it yet because you had fun. But to me, it was like, oh, okay, wow. And it's still dropping like what it is, because it takes something away of your imagination. That's what I can say.
Wow.
And also it gives you a new image of how things work, of how the universe works, why we operate that we do, and the program and everything. So that's all the spoilers I will give. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't have, we were in Atlanta and uh Trey had 46 showrooms he needed to go to, and I needed to go to 26 of those.
Oh my gosh, you're still alive.
Yeah, and then we managed to get through that in 4 days.
Wow.
And then we went to my son's house, and the next day we left to go on our vacation. And I thought I was going to have internet access, but Trey's phone would work, but mine just wasn't working. And so I just was like, this is my body, and
Right.
the universe saying, put the phone down.
Right. Take a break. No
I just
contact.
locked it in the safe. And I think one day I got it, and I was I read books at night on my phone, and one day I had it, and I was like, oh, I have some bars. And I went to Instagram, and the first thing that popped on my screen was your painting. And I was like, oh my God, I needed to see. And you had just posted it or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is mind blowing. It's so beautiful. And yeah, when I saw your picture, I knew that the energy of the nature of the stars. I'm like, she's listened to that whole thing.
Right.
I could feel it.
The energy is in there. Yeah.
I'm so behind. And I was like, oh, let it go, Simone. You'll never catch up.
But it must have felt good that you had no phone, because it's also distracting from the present, right?
Yeah, I mean, my whole goal was to be with my grandkids and create memories. And because it was so hot, I couldn't be with, like they would be out at the pool and it was so hot. I went to the spa, but we in the afternoon when they were finished sliding, we would come together and we played games, and and then we had 4 of the 7 days where we had or 3, I can't remember, 3 days that we had excursions that we went and did things together for the whole day. And that was great. But yeah, I was mostly just present with them. And when I wasn't present with them, I was in the spa just in peace, looking out the window or reading or sleeping or resting.
Right. Quality time for yourself. Yeah. With yourself. Yeah.
So it was good. It was good.
Are you regenerated?
I felt, we got home and I still felt like my body was moving, and then I said to Trey, I said, do you realize how far we went? Like, we went from Seattle to Atlanta to Miami, and then we were cruising all over the Mediterranean, and then we went back to Atlanta, and then we came back to Seattle, and I was like, my body was still just like moving, at speed. But yeah, and our cruise was supposed to have some like downtime at the end, but to avoid weather, they changed the route of the cruise. So we had the quiet time at the beginning, and then all those excursions ended up being like at the end, and they were hard. Like the last day excursion, I think I'm just like recovering from it. It was we marched up this mountain in extreme heat, and then we zip lined, and then after that whole thing, then we did this series of like cliff dives,
Oh my
and
gosh.
we like jumped in, these off these cliffs, and then we were in this, like, it was like walls of the mountain on either side of us, and the stream came through, and so we were like going through the water. It was beautiful.
Wow.
And then we would either slide or jump, through the next waterfall or whatever. um and this was like a 5 hour thing, and
I
we
wouldn't
got
survive
to
that. I'm proud of you. Oh my gosh. Jealous also of your energy. Oh my God.
it was like, when they were like, oh, it's a 45-minute hike up this mountain, and it was so hot, and I am with, like, oh Lord, I hope I can make it.
Right.
And when we by the time, and then the series of zip lining, so then we did that, and I made it. And then the series of zip lining, there was height, like we would zip line, and then we had to like go up and come down, and it was all this climbing and stuff, and it was so hot. We got to the end before the water, and we were sitting in the shady spot, and it was about 20 minutes before we were able to get in the water, and I was so hot that I was nauseated, and I thought, if we don't get in the water soon, I am going to throw up. It's not, because I was dizzy and
Yeah.
hot. It was just the extreme heat. And then they go, oh, it's your turn, and we jumped in that water, and I was like, my body was like, praise God.
Yeah.
And we got to the end. It was about 5 hours, like I said, and we didn't, because they told you there were lockers to put all your stuff in, and we knew, like, we didn't want to bring, like, I told Troy we need some cash, but, like, where are we going to put it? And we had one credit card and some cash, and we get to the end, and my son had no cash, which is just hysterical, because he always, like, we get to the end, we're all starving.
Right.
We tipped the guides, and then we had like 30 something dollars, and we walk over, we thought we'd be able to use a credit card, no credit card. So so, and they had, it's real primitive, it's in the middle of the jungle, right?
Right.
And my son says, go into this little cabana thing, and my son says, do you have El Presidente, which is a beer? I don't drink very much. So he gets the beer. He goes, Mom, what do you want? And I didn't really want a Coke with all the sugar. I said, give me that beer. And I tasted it. I was like, I'll take one of
Yeah,
those.
you took one. It is a thirst blessing. I know I took
It
one
is.
beer in my life. It really is. I know. It's weird.
I mean, bottles of beer were like bottles of beer for so they overcharged us, right? But Trey made a friend, and so we get back to the bus, and we got back to the bus with 2 bottles of beer. The kids each had a soda. Trey had a little glass of wine and a bag of chips.
And then the $30 was gone.
It was, $30, and so like, and we're sitting on the bus, and we're all like so hungry and so thirsty. And Grant says, Dad, how much do you have money to eat? He goes, I have $6. He goes, I'm going back in there. I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to try to negotiate.
Yeah.
So Trey had met a man in there and had talked to him for a little while. So my son went up to him and said, hey, you were just talking to my dad. And Grant looks like Trey. He goes, yeah, y'all, your whole family's there. And he goes, listen, they charged us $30 for 3 beers, 2 Cokes, and a bag of chips. He goes, oh, they way overcharged you. He goes, we came with a credit card. We don't have any cash left. We have $6. He goes, oh, that's enough. He goes, I'll go. So he comes back, and he came back with 2 more bottles of beer. He got the beer for like half price, so he
Right.
had 2 more bottles of the beer. And Grant's talking to him there, and he was from that area, but he had gone to school in the US, and so his English was really good. So he's at this buffet, which we would have paid for, but they didn't take credit cards. So he goes, "Do you want to bring your kids some hot dogs?"
Oh, yes.
He goes, "I paid for the buffet. It's all you can eat. Give me a minute." So he went and got some hot dogs. So here comes my son back to the bus with 2 hot dogs and 2 beers. And we were all like, "Yeah!"
Yes. For
My mom
$6.
said they were so hungry.
Yeah.
It was like an hour bus ride back. So
Yeah.
7 hours, and, but we all had beer, and it was funny. It was just funny. But that
Yeah.
was the second to last day. It's taken till today. Then we had some things with flights, like we were in Fort Lauderdale and we were flying back to Atlanta, and it's like a 2-hour flight. That day ended up being a 10-hour day because the airplane had trouble, and then there was weather, and it was just really
Mm.
long day. So we were
Yeah.
all tired,
Yeah.
traveling 10 hours in airports, and we
Yeah.
sat on the plane so long they had to bring it back to get more fuel, and then we sat on it another hour. It was just,
Ah.
I ended up being on that plane for like 6-7 hours for a 2-hour flight. Most of
Um,
it was just sitting. And then our day home ends up being a 10-hour day. But it's like
yeah.
by the time we go to the airport, get there a little early. It's a
Yeah.
big airport. Took us 45 minutes to get to our gate. And then
Um,
it's like a 5.5-hour flight. And then we have, 2 hours before we get home. So it was a 10-hour day. So I've had a bunch of, at the end of our vacation,
yeah.
all these strenuous days. So I don't know, Corinna.
I don't know how you did that. Must be all generators around you. Except
Yeah,
for the one
yeah.
grandchild. She's a
Well,
reflector.
I stay really still when we're not
Yeah.
moving. I
Yeah.
have a book. I just get really. It was funny because when we got back to my son's house, or we had a car pick us up, and so everybody was quiet in the car. But we get home and we're having dinner, and my son was like, we sat the 3 girls and the 3 boys, on the other side of the aisle, and they were talking about how the people behind us were so loud. And my daughter-in-law goes, "Yeah, they were really loud." And I'm just sitting there eating my dinner, and I was like, missed it all.
Oh, you were
I
just
go into my
zoned
little
in.
cone of silence, and like I was oblivious to
Right. You were too
all
tired
the.
to hear it or to get it bothered you. Yeah.
No, I was just like in my little cone of silence. I didn't hear any of it. It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah, but even though it was that until today that you kind of feel like you're yourself again, you do look radiant, and I love your blouse.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Thank you.
embroidery, right?
Yeah, it's
Embroidered,
embroidery.
yeah.
I love stuff with embroidery
Beautiful.
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a facial on my last day on the cruise, and oh my gosh, they did a great job. It was super fun and nice, and
And relaxing.
mhm, mhm. Yeah. And Trey, I'm gonna just own something. So like Trey, he took a gazillion pictures, and he's posting pictures all over social media,
Oh, I
especially
didn't
on.
see them, even though I
go to
follow him.
his go to his
Instagram.
business. It's Details Home and Garden. And so last night when he got home from work, um he was like, "Did you see the pictures from vacation?" I was like, "No." But I haven't been on, yesterday I had clients from like from 9 o'clock yesterday morning till 7. I had like
Wow.
clients every 2 hours all day yesterday. That happens when I travel. But I look at it, and it's me with a snorkel mask and a snorkel on my fins, and a life
They weren't
jacket.
approved by you. That's what I'm hearing. Get it. Men don't look at that, but we look like, do we look good?
Oh, and I'm looking at myself in the clothes, and I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, like I don't look good. And
That
he's
woman,
like,
you were like, that
you
woman.
are, you are. I hate when you put my picture on social media and I'm in
Yeah,
my bathing suit. Like,
right.
I need to
No,
be.
warn me at least so I can hold my stomach. I'm so the same.
Oh my God. I mean, it's just like, you know, nails on a chalkboard. I'm
Right?
looking at this, like, I can't even believe he's done this. And he's like, look how cute you are.
But he must be proud of you, otherwise he wouldn't show his wife like that. So,
Oh my God.
oh,
Funny. It's just funny.
yeah.
I find the whole thing funny.
It's a lesson of about control. You have no control.
None. I have given up control because I know I can't control it.
Right.
Like this is not. I still cringe, but it's not anything I have any control over.
Right.
And yeah, he
Did you say like you felt a little like maybe embarrassed because you didn't know he would post you in a bathing suit?
had no idea. No idea. And when we were on the ship and my phone wasn't working, his phone was just working. Like he's working the whole time. He's posting on Instagram and he's just like, ripping it up. And I'm like, what are you posting on Instagram? I'm trying to grab it like that. And I saw like one of the pictures and I was like, you didn't.
This. And you didn't remove them, or you were like, well, it's already posted, so.
Like, point that he's right.
You're laughing so loud that the sound falls away.
Oh my God. It was just like, oh, I just felt like this.
Right. I can imagine, and I would feel exactly the same. So don't feel ashamed about that.
But the one good thing is I was like, oh, Corinne can see.
No, I didn't see them. So if you don't want me to look at them, I will not.
I mean, it's there's good ones with the kids and stuff, of course. My grandkids are so cute.
But yeah, but it's also like, if you want to go deep, it's also like the self-image that we have, the way that we think we should look like, while we are learning with everything we speak about and with the human design stuff, that it's not about that we look like everybody else. You are Simone and you're perfect. It's only the judgment that you give yourself. As me too. I give myself judgment as well. So,
well, I think my judgment is not comparative. It's self, like I see that I've always had a waist. I've always had kind of a figure 8, and now I don't. I have a little, inner tube, and I had this jumpsuit on that I wore 5 years ago, and to one of my friend's movie premiere, and I wore that jumpsuit and there's a picture of me in it. I'm like, oh my God, I have no waist. So I'm not comparing myself to anyone else. I'm comparing myself to me.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I'm at my best, and I'm hard on myself for that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Because I heard you I heard you say that several times, and maybe that was part of my decluttering was precisely because of that. There were sizes that I would, I could look at them and go like, oh, I should be like that again. But then I realized, I am me now, so why should I have to look like back then? you know?
That's true. That
Yeah.
is true. Um, the way I relate it to human design is that if I hypothesize that if I'm living my design well, my environment, my determination, then my body's in balance. And
So
when
you're,
I
yeah.
look at it, I have a judgment that I'm not in balance. But is that true?
It's not about weight. That's what I'm starting to see. There was another short thing that I watched from Lavina, and was also about the four transformations or something, about if you
Yeah.
really go into the experiment with your diet and such, it is absolutely not about figure and weight. And that's also what my healer once said to me. Um, he said, you will become your normal weight. So maybe that's more weight than you have now. And I was like, again, it's the image that we have of how we think we should look, because we all have an image from somewhere, or in the past where we felt maybe happy because we, for whatever reason. But the natural weight is natural weight. So if you're living your design, you're perfect the way you are. It's just the image doesn't match the way that you were.
There were the whole trip. There's two things that I want to contribute to this. The whole trip, the special numbers, I always know that if I'm seeing 444 or 333 or 11111 or 1212 or whatever,
Yeah.
that to me is a symbol
Right.
or an affirmation that what I'm doing is in alignment, for me. Oh my gosh, Corinda, daily, numerous times through
Yeah.
every day, the numbers were right there, like, and so the whole time I felt like, yes, 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 I'm aligned, I'm aligned, I'm
Right.
aligned, because it was everywhere just coming at me,
Right.
so, so, so special. Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's that, that's affirming, that's
Yeah.
saying, yes, you are in alignment. Yes, you are in alignment. Yes, you are in alignment.
So you are the best that you can be. It's just the mind against talking to you, not self. Yeah. But I know it's easy to say and to realize, but then to really believe in it or know it as inner truth, that's another whole nother step. Yeah.
Well, the other thing that I contemplate when I get into this mindset, is that I'm almost 62. I'll be 62 in December. And I'm on no medication. I don't wear glasses. How many people,
And say that.
I feel like that's a sign that my body's in balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
That, you know,
You're
and also
healthy and happy. So yeah,
that's the thing that keeps me going, when I get
in the mind
caught up
space. Yeah,
in
hard on
the
yourself.
shape or whatever, I go, well, Simone, that's true. And what's also true is that you, your body's in balance in other ways.
Right. Yeah. And that's all that counts, right? If you can do the things that you want to do, wow, you even have the energy that I don't have for all of the stuff that you did. So come on, you're in very good shape.
Let me tell you, I remember when I resigned from my job
Yeah.
teaching, and I said to you, my extra time or the time that frees up, I want to exercise, and I want to create painting and
Yeah.
exercise. When I was crawling up that mountain, I was so glad I had played pickleball as many days as I could, because if I had not been moving like that for
You wouldn't have
2 hour chunks, I would not have been able to crawl up that mountain,
exactly.
in that heat. So I was really
Yeah.
grateful that I had been so determined, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to me, that, I was stuck and I was emotional for a few months, and, we talked about all that. And then when I started to make that shift and to start to declutter and started moving and such, I even lost some weight. So it was kind of all stuck energy. And that was good for a while to, be in that lower energy and do less and such. But now I feel like I gain balance again. So I have periods that I really focus and concentrate in doing, and then suddenly I just stand up and go do something else, or just walk out the door and go to the grocery store downstairs and get something, or get my bike and go somewhere, and then I come back and then I start painting again. So it's action and rest, action and rest,
You look so vibrant today. Like I feel like you have so much more energy than when I left.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes. And even with the rain, I still look radiant.
Is it raining where y'all
Yeah,
are?
yeah, it's very gray and rainy, and I had to do stuff outside, and I don't have a raincoat or anything. And I was just like, whatever. And then I came home and I was like, oh my gosh, the Zoom, So then your message came in. I was like, oh, let me put on some.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
still there's a little mascara under my eye and such. And I was like, it's just Simone. She knows who I am. And when we will visit each other, you'll see me without makeup. So
You too. I mean, all the time.
wouldn't that be fun? Like, who are you?
Yeah,
No,
totally.
just kidding.
I'm so excited to I know you don't want to do a spoiler, but I don't care about that. Like
Okay.
it invigorates me to hear you talk about what's special. So I would love to hear you share. Do you feel like sharing about
Yeah, sure.
anything? Because I would love. I've been chomping at the bit to hear you talk about it. Because I like once I saw those paintings, I had the download. I'm like, I'm gonna get listen to both of those courses.
Yeah, well, there's even something funny. One night I couldn't really sleep, so I went up to my own bed here. I switch beds during the night, which is good according to human design, and I do it naturally. And but I was quite awake, so I was like, okay, I was already in the natural star, so let me just go to the next class and just listen and maybe fall asleep. So I fell asleep with some lessons, which I listened later consciously. But at some point I woke up in the morning, and I woke up with my eyes closed, and I saw it was like what is it? Novas, a novascope? You look into it, it's made of glass, and see all the light geometry and colors and such. I
We
saw
call it
that.
kaleidoscope.
Kaleidoscope, yes. So I saw that with my eyes closed. I was like, huh? So I opened my eyes and I closed them again, and I saw that. So vibrant, like real, 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 more real than. And I was like, wow, is this the frequency of Ra that I was receiving? And that's why everything is activated. So I was even blown away by that. So I can't tell you the details because it's a lot of information. Ra loves to talk. He loves to talk in stories and go this way and go that way. But what I got from it is like, it starts with 4 major stars, which are, from as I understand it now, are kind of the overall program. Every planet and star breathe in and breathe out, and they breathe neutrinos out, which is the program. They don't do it consciously because they are the consciousness field. So they just spit something out, so to speak, or they breathe something out, and we are just placed here to fill out the program, because the program needs puppets to do the program, like a computer game. And somehow I already had like this fantasy that we were like, if they talk about a holographic universe, or like we're living in a hologram and it's not real, it is real and it isn't real. We are literally puppets of the program. So it's absolutely nothing personal. And for me, it even feels like there is no God, because that comes in the mystical way, why God exists and where it exists and when it happened and when it started and when it's going to end and why. And I was mind blown away by that part, that you are not you. He really says you're not who you think you are. That's what we know, but it's not. You're not even your body, and you're not even your personality. It's like you're just a program. And I can say it, but I still can't grasp it. but I do feel it does something to me. So I'm still playing out the program, but there's something inside of me, knowing, again, the only thing I can say, like, it's truly not personal. Nothing is truly personal. Even the suffering is not personal. And if you can really take that in any moment of whatever's going to happen, because I do have a little bit of, not anxiety, not a fear, but there's a little something inside of me like, oh, what's going to come with the 2027, because because in the mystical way, he talks about that a lot. And, he was the clarion. So he brought it a bit negative, even though he says it's not negative at all. I'm not a doom sayer or something, but I do feel like, oh, wow. So, but then when I go back to the natural stars, it's all like this huge blockbuster movies being played out, and it's already set out how it's supposed to be. And even in the past, he talks about Egypt and such, and about the floods, and it's all relatable to the stars, so everything that happens is part of the program. It has nothing to do with us as human beings. It's yeah.
How does he relate the design crystal and the personality crystal to that? It's not personal, it's just part of the program.
Yeah. So it even makes me I don't know. I really love that we both picked one, and that somehow they are intertwined. I do feel like we picked the right ones to go into at the same time.
Yeah.
And I also I suddenly remembered that there was another course that I really want to do, and it's about ghosts, aliens, demons, and angels. And I found it, and I'm gonna wait for the discount. But what I found is that it has to do with your color. So I know you are into base, but now I'm seeing this thing that has to do with colors, a certain color. Example for me, I have a second color. No, I have a, wait, I made notes this afternoon. Yeah, but I looked at my design site. So that's not true, because he says it's personality. So now I have to check, because it's fascinating. And I love this deep dive. I love it. Let me
So
see.
personality, is there any particular planet that you look at?
I believe it was personality sun, but Earth is the same. So I'm a color 3. And it resonates with the perception of ghosts. So I can see ghosts.
What does color 2 resonate with?
Color 2 is demonic forces that can possess us internally through seduction and are experienced internally. So they possess us only if you're seduced by them, but you experience them internally. So all the demons come out from yourself. So you're being seduced by your own demons, so to speak. I don't know if you have any experience with that.
Oh, the thing that comes to mind is that, so my grandmother, my grandmother never worked, but they lived on a very, like, they had 2 acres, and behind her house she slowly bought these mobile homes, and she would rent them to students who were going to college. And so there were these 4 mobile homes, and she did that for, until they fell apart, really. But one time when my kids were like kindergarten, preschool and kindergarten, and we were moving across the country. Trey had started a new job, and I had 3 months, and so I stayed with her in one of the trailers with the boys. And I remember being in that trailer, and it felt like demonic energy.
Mm.
And it was so powerful. And that was in my part of my journey. I went from what is it? I can see it, but I just need to look at my charts so I can give you the right word. It's um my journey is from theist to
Yeah,
anti-theist,
for
right?
me was
So, I was raised Catholic, and I was really, really Catholic. I'd go to church every day in college, and this was in my theist. I hadn't made my transition. I was in my early 20s.
yeah.
So I would lay there in the bed at night, and I would imagine myself and my children in the sacred heart of Jesus, in the blood of Jesus. And I would, imagine that we were being protected from this
Right.
demonic energy. And that's how I got through it. It was because I had such faith that I would, but then also when I was a girl, I've seen energy since I was a toddler. And I guess from about the time I was in third grade, all through my grade school years, when I would go to bed at night, it's why I became a big reader. If my light was off in my room, there was all these energetic things in my room. And the thing that terrorized me was this blob of energy, and it would pulse. It was like bright green kind of blob of energy, and it would appear in the corner of my room, and it would just pulse. And then what it would do is it would pulse toward me, and it would get smaller and smaller, but it was almost like it would come at me. And then right here, right when it would get right in front of me, it would, and I would be like in
Yeah.
terror.
Yeah.
It would disappear.
Right.
So, those are the things but that was years of my
Yeah.
life, like
Yeah.
from third grade to, I don't know.
I had kind of the similar experience when I was young. I was constantly, yeah, I said I was seeing ghosts, but I was sensing them. And like I sensed at the attic, underneath my bed, or like you said, like a dark corner. And I had this little, you had, when in our days, I don't know if they had it in America, but you could put up a little light, especially for a night light, and I always needed it on until I moved out of that house where I grew up, and then it was gone.
Because that presence probably lived in that house, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so the reason I read as a child
Yeah.
was if I had the nightlight on and I read, that all of that went away.
Right.
And so I would read through the night. Reading almost became a state of sleeping for me.
Right. Yeah.
But also when I was little, we lived with my grandmother. From the time I came home from the hospital, we were in my grandmother's home, and there were all kinds of beings in her house, and they were. I would see them,
Right.
like, and later, in my life, when I lived in Houston, I had a really dear friend Zephyr who was a witch, and I talked to him about it, and he asked me to describe the beings, and he knew, like, he had a label for them, and they were terrifying. My grandmother was very, very, very religious, and she had like a altar in her bedroom with all these candles, and she prayed to saints, and um you know I wish I could remember what kind of beings they were. So
Yeah, would be interesting then. That would be our next thing to investigate. And I think it's mostly it's in November that another discount comes.
Oh,
So
cool. Okay,
yeah,
cool. So maybe that'll be the goal for me. My goal is to listen. And I was like, I was thinking about doing the Nature of the Stars one first, but I didn't know. I was like, oh, she'll know which one to do first. But
it's a funny thing. I started with the mystical way, but the way he explains it, you really need to take down notes because it's too much of a story to really know what it truly means. I love the story, but then at
Mhm.
some point during painting, I switched over to the natural stars. Don't know
Uh-huh.
why. My body showed me like, oh, put something else in because my concentration was going the other way. So in a class 2 or something, I went to the natural stars, and that is fully into the picture. So yeah,
What are the four stars that he says everything emanates from?
I don't know by head. I can look them up for you if you want,
Yeah.
because I can just go to my playlist and I can see. Uh, oh no. Let me see. Let me see. I put it down. The first one doesn't say. Hmm? Oh yeah. It does say. I didn't look right. I put it underneath. The first one is All the Baron, the first
Aldebaran,
maker.
that's where
Yeah,
I'm from.
yeah. And then the second one is Altaris. Altaris.
Is that with an A or a U?
HLTERAS. An A, not an E. A. Yeah, Altaris.
Okay.
Then Regulus. This is a funny one. Full Fomalhout. FOMALHAUT. Don't know how to pronounce it right. And then there are more stars, but yeah. Spica, SPICA. Vega. And Vega, I believe, there was the one, if I remember correctly, about Egypt. And then you get to Rastaban. So there are more stars. But he
That's so
explains it also in the
fascinating. It's
time
not,
frame. Yeah.
yeah, it's not even the stars that
No,
human design is grounded in. It's
no,
beyond that, right?
it's beyond that. I feel like it's talking about really the beginning of everything, like if you even call it like after the Big Bang, or yeah, something like that, when it all started, when something started. And what also was fascinating is that there are stars dying, and that's why the program is changing. That's why we are losing the connections in 2027 with the 19 and the 49 and the 59 6. So it's breaking down. He says the program is breaking down.
So we're losing those.
Yes, we're losing part of the program. And that's why he is so don't know the word for it, but so burned on saying to our generation, like, this is the last time we have an opportunity for self-reflective consciousness, because the raves don't have it. They have a new consciousness. And there will be no more need for God. And the cross of planning is about also building the churches in a mystical way. And there will be no need for that.
You know, when you said that, I flashed to, like, you know, it's like we go to Stonehenge to see, and I just had this imagining of, you know, in 100 years from now, will all the churches just be empty, like museums?
Like the temples in the past.
Yeah.
That's what I saw. Like, why our civilizations just suddenly vanished? That's why. So it was so eye-opening. You know, I watched so many mystical documentaries about the past and all these buildings and all these gods and such. And I was like, wow, this just turns me in a whole nother direction. The perception in a whole nother direction. I still love the stories, you know, about the Anunnaki and all those that are related to it, and how everything started and what ended in like with the Mayan and such. And but it all has to do with the program. That's was so mind-blowing to me. Like, we're all searching for this alien interaction and such, but yeah, the only alien thing is the stars. And we are the aliens. You know. So when I'm even thinking about it now, I almost feel like we were sort of altered to get a consciousness by the program, because well, not because it wanted to, but just because it is. Because it says there is no reason for it. And that's kind of strange, because I was always looking for the reason of life. And now I'm hearing there is no reason. It's just is. It's the way that the program works, so to speak. And that's still kind of like, okay, so if I really want to go dark, I could feel like, I even said to Hans, I was like, okay, so all of this has no meaning. Like even the dying, and then, you know, my personality crystal, when everything blows up, you know, what is the meaning?
Well,
I don't know. But maybe at some point another door will open to give answer to that. It's just, you know, the 63 of inquiry, it will find, you know, it doesn't have an answer. For me, it doesn't have an answer right now.
you know, I mean, in part, my study of human design has taken me to the place of I'm either living my design or I'm not.
That's all you can do.
And that's what life is. You're either living your design or you're not.
Right. Make it as pleasant or not, because if it has no meaning, you better have fun.
Right? You know,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I mean, it's like, try posting the pictures. There's a part of me that goes, and there's a
Right.
part of me that doesn't care, because I know that I was doing everything that was aligned with me, and the universe was showing me constantly through numbers, through alignments. This is, you know,
Right.
this is an alignment.
Yeah.
And so the pictures don't really even matter.
Right. That's what I'm
Because,
starting to see or perceive, or to realize, that it matters and it matters not. It's a choice. It's again that duality, even, you know. It's like you can look at 2027 negatively or positively, like exciting to be here. And even the knowing of like how the stars, we are the puppets of the stars, so to speak. Yeah, then I better just, yeah, like you said, live out my design and have fun with it, because I'm still created, I'm still here. So make something of it or not, you know. It's
And
always
I'm
a
either
choice.
gonna do it, like, in alignment, or I'm gonna do it not in alignment and broken, that's not
Right,
gonna be fun.
right, exactly.
So, um,
I do feel kind of a bit sad in a way that he speaks about like he would like to do more and more of the mystical stuff and he didn't get to do it, you know. And I went to my healer for the last time because I feel so good. I feel like I don't need him right now. I just, you
mhm.
know, want some space. And um what did I want to say? I lost it. What was the last thing you said?
Well, you were talking about how Ra didn't get to a lot of the mystical stuff that he died before, and then
Right.
you
And I shared about, you know, about the encounter with the voice and such, and about the supernova that happened when the voice, you know. So my healer reminded me of like there are more people than that received a part of that supernova. And I remember that Ra also said there are more people. So somewhere it's somebody that has the information to give more answers, so to speak, that I'm maybe looking for.
and if we're aligned, that'll come to us, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or we'll be able to see it if it comes to us.
Right. Yeah. And I
If
also
that's
believe,
part of the program.
yeah, if it's part of the program, I'll get to see it. You see, that's the fun part.
And but then, what's exciting about that is that knowing our design together and
Hmm.
how our pieces of the puzzle fit in the program,
Yeah.
we know we have something from the program to bring forward
That's,
together.
yeah. Yeah, you reminded me of that exact thing, what I realized. Like, okay, we found each other again. So what is in all this that we have to figure out or complete? And I did find out something else, what was fascinating to me. When I start looking at base, my daughter and my father are also base too.
Interesting.
So they are from the same crystal. So that was interesting too. So I wanted to share with you, like, can you look up, you know, with your relatives, like who maybe is from the same crystal and what does it mean? Because I don't remember if it was Jonah or it was Ra when they speak about, oh, I believe it was Ra in a mystical way that he said well, what would happen or when people start grouping by base and such. You know, like we have that 535, which is a gate, and then also having the same base and such. But there are more people out there that come from the same fractal. That's how we said it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting is we have the same what is it, line, color, tone,
Yeah.
base. We have the same line, we have the same color,
Yeah.
and we have the same base.
Right.
And on design side, we have the same line, color, and base.
Really? Oh, I
So
didn't even check that. I only checked the personality. Yeah.
we on design and personality we have the same. So that, that's pretty.
Yeah. And even that note that connects me to your sun Earth has that same color tone and base. On the personality side, yeah, that 535, I believe. Yeah.
Holy moly, and we're only off one on the tone.
Yeah.
That's like mind blowing right
Right?
there.
That makes it fun.
Yeah, super fun. No, I don't, on genetic matrix, I can't get all of those digits, so I'd
I
need
send
some
it to
help.
you. I sent your profile to you from my
No, no, no,
MRI. Oh,
with my kids and stuff.
oh, well, give me the
I,
dates and I can create those charts.
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
And then we can actually look at that.
yeah. And I also
that
believe,
is so fascinating.
yeah. And I also believe that Jonah had a conversation with another guy who works with human design, because he said it was about like, where are the men in human design? And then at some point he also spoke about, the percentages which are on that chart that I sent you. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it's not completely full in a next lifetime, you will kind of start there again to fulfill it.
In terms of well, base stays the same. So in color, in terms of line, color, tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at that, like my color is 71% on personality, earth, and sun. Personality, moon, I'm at 89% of my gate. I was looking at where am I almost complete? Where am I
Right.
just beginning?
Right. Yeah, and the funny thing is, I take care of everybody, and I haven't even looked and created my own chart with that. The new one, with my new time and correct birthplace. So I still have to do that.
Uh, my Pluto is I'm at 98% of the color,
Wow.
89% of the tone, 77% of the gate. That is like, whoa, okay.
Could it have to do with also you being like 3 times right, and the new beings are quad? It's a quad, right? Or yeah, quad is
Could
4,
be,
right?
yeah, I'm try right, yeah.
Yeah, try right, yes. And maybe that's why, yeah, you're almost complete.
Yeah.
Well, then I have some work to do because, I'm only one right and the rest is left. So,
I'm so fascinated, like I didn't know about that that rave children are not here for self-reflection.
yeah, not here for self-reflection. They're here for the conscious penta. So put 3 kids together, 3 babies together, and they will live.
So maybe that might be, I have some catching up to do, and I printed out this is the whole thing on base. I have it right here. But maybe maybe we study the penta next,
Yeah.
because if that's the future,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I'm still thinking like, okay, how would they adjust the body graph then in 2027? That would be fun to see. Then it's like just 2 gates and nothing in the middle or something. Or does it just disappear? Does the whole gate disappear? I don't fully remember how
Because
he said it.
because
What he,
the 49 and the 19, I want to look at a body graph while we're talking.
yeah,
Pulling my body graph up. So then
I believe it's the 6. There's something with the 6 and the 59 and something with the 1949. Yeah.
so 1949, from the emotional center to
Yeah.
the root, that
Yes.
gate, that channel just disappears.
The channel disappears, but not the gate. I believe not the gates. I'm not sure. Like I said, I listened to it once, and
Oh, but the programming. So right
right.
now,
Yeah.
the program is in the 1949 and the 59.6. So for all of us, whether you have the 1949 or
Nothing's gonna
not,
change. Right. Exactly.
you're being pulsed by the 1949
Yeah.
and the 59.6. So you're just not going to be pulsed by that. So you're not going to be activated by that. And you're
No.
not going to be activated by the 659. So the emotional to the
Right.
sacral.
No.
And instead, we're going to be pulsed by, do you remember what it's
The cross, the new cross is?
yeah.
It's there are always two crosses. And I believe we're going then to at least the sleeping phoenix,
Yeah.
which will awake, and the cross of penetration, which is also the 59 and 55, awakening to the spirit. And when you just
You
said
mean
it like there will be no
39,
connection.
3955, right, is the penetration, and the sleeping phoenix is out of the G, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I don't know it by head. I believe it's the 53 and the 54. And I just mixed them all up
55
together.
gate, the cross of the sleeping phoenix is 55, 59, 26, 30. $39, 55, and the, let's see, 34, 20,
20.
34.
Yes, now I remember. Yeah. So it's awakening to the spirit in the now. In short.
That kind of relates to how Jen Curry Parker talks about. Hold on just a second. I'm remembering this right.
Which page you are on?
Oh, I thought it's not that. It has to do with some of the work we were recently doing when we were doing the moon activations, what we were driven by, and we did that. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I even made some notes just from the intro to the course.
yeah.
I already, because I really want to, for me, starting really experimenting with consciously with my bodily activation, so with the design side, because that is very present for the future. If you want to survive, he says, you really need to learn and listen to your own authority. And so he made it really strong to let go of the mind and think who think you are. So I wanted to really become conscious of my unconscious. So yeah, so I wrote down like what the sun is, your core essence, the earth is ground. Oh, sorry, this is the BG5. I'm mixing it all up, but it's almost sort of the same, because Mercury is communication, Venus is values, Mars maturing energy, Jupiter personal law, Saturn judge and discipline, Neptune your uniqueness, Uranus what's hidden, and the Pluto is transformation. So I wrote it. Can you see it or not? I can't see
Oh
much.
yeah. So can you, when we finish talking, will you send me that and I'll do it for mine?
Yeah. I found it interesting to see, you know, also with the color and tone and base, because of all the information that we now have. I'm becoming, even though with the God design, there was something still not like activated in me, but now it is. So I really want to dive in that color and tone and base, you know, that transference and motivations and such, and why you do the things you do unconsciously, like being able to recognize it. I
mean,
I
that's
yeah,
exciting.
I did have moments that I recognized my reaction before I reacted, you know, so there's an awareness over there. And I do feel like I'm very aware, but I feel like if you become really aware of your motivations and when you're in transference, that it opens up a whole new world.
So, I mean, I'm so aware, right? I mean, just through my experience, I'm becoming so aware of motivation. I think you
Right,
talked about that with me, with, just complete hope, no hope. And
right,
with that experience I had a couple of weeks ago,
right,
and even on this trip, just, um, if I were in my transference of guilt, I would have tried to force myself to go out and be with the kids at the
right,
slide and on the sun deck with all those people and all that noise. And I was just like, well, I just hope it works out. And I went to the spa
right.
where it was quiet and calm and there weren't a lot of people. And I wasn't sipping from a bunch of shit I
Yeah,
didn't want to sip from,
right.
you know. um,
Yeah, it's an people could describe it as being an egoist, but I feel like it's a healthy egoist because that's the only way, like I understand it now from Ra, that's the only way you get to your inner authority, and it's the only way you're gonna survive. And I know the word survive is a bit harsh, but I do get what he is saying. Like there's so much gonna change, and if you're so overwhelmed by every change and you're not centered in your true self, then you don't know what to do and where to go or who to be with, like who's aligned for you. You just do something because you feel like you should do something because you're in transference of guilt, like you said.
I just got to hope it all works out and, walk away when there's no hope and just,
Yeah, yeah. Maybe
uh,
even dare to choose for yourself. He even explains, like in 2027, like there's all this Red Cross and help for all the poorly. And he says that's all just gonna go away because nobody cares. And I talk about it with Hans, and we're already noticing that people don't call back from institutes, and people even of businesses. They're busy with themselves. They don't care about you anymore. And I think that is the future. So if you can't trust anybody to do something for you, you have to do it yourself. Or for us, maybe as a four, who's in our circle that can assist us? Who is our new tribe, maybe, or who is our new community? Or
I mean, we noticed that with Trey's business, with his retail store. I mean, some of it he's going out and gathering vintage stuff, but the retail part of that. So long time ago in the 80s, he and I were both sales reps. We repped for companies. So we had customers. And if somebody called me, I called them back
yeah, me too.
because
Yeah,
that's how I made my money. You know, if they wanted something and that, they weren't on my loop that week and they called me, I
right,
called them back
right,
because that's how I sold. And what we notice all the time is like his sales reps, there are people who they don't return call. They don't want to talk to you on the phone. They don't come out to see your business. They live an hour away. They've repped for him for 4 years. They don't ever come to his store. They don't answer texts. They don't, return phone calls. And it's hard to stay in business when you rely on supplies from other people.
yeah,
And there's somebody who is not doing the roughing job,
right,
like,
right.
so I'm listening to you and I'm like, well, who's going to want to rep when the program changes?
Exactly. Yeah, he even, he speaks about, the infrastructure of things, like even, we have a grocery downstairs, but what if nobody can deliver because nobody's driving the truck, or there are not coming any incoming goods from other countries because the infrastructure is, it's not going to happen overnight, but I think we will witness the changes, and how do we adapt is what's is going to be most important.
I mean, I see it already changing.
Right.
And what I see happening is the businesses where the people are not responsive to customers, they just go away because
Yeah.
they just end. But then what I also see is a lot of other businesses succeeding because they are showing up.
Yeah, it's the same. We talked about it the same, that customer service and such is so important in these times. And I don't know why, or is that gonna change? It's like, is really not nobody gonna care, or are there just a few because of their design that they're still gonna do it because it's right for them? So yeah,
Well,
maybe if the right
think about that. I mean, there's so many
yeah,
of us who are not rave children, right?
right. Who are born
So
for service. Yeah,
we weren't born for service, but the people who have that were born with the 1949 or the 59.6, they'll keep doing, because
right,
there's those people who are there, and those will
right.
be the ones who really succeed
Yeah,
when other things are failing, because they will have the energy, the design
right.
to do that. But
Yeah,
you
funny
know,
thing is, when you mentioned that, my daughter has almost the complete circuitry of the mystical way. Only the 4037 is her notes, and it ends at the 25. So she doesn't have the 1020. That's the last part of the complete mystical circuitry.
wow.
She has the cross of
Interesting.
healing also.
Hmm.
And touch, I learned something about touch. I don't know if you know
Oh,
it already. These are people, Ross says, that really, if they touch you, they can heal you. I didn't know that. But she's still in her, she's not 30 yet. So, and she's a 6'2". She still has a lot to experience before I feel like she can go into any of this stuff. But it's fascinating to me that I have a daughter that has that mystical way, and that these things are going to change. And how is it going to change for people that have that channel, but there's no more incoming neutrinos to feed it, so to speak?
God, I wish I could find somebody in my